Hello, 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 Miss Michelle.
Hi, Christine.
It's a whole new year.
Welcome to another episode of Hello Me, Unapologetically Authentic with Christine Siona and Michelle Lyle. Every once in a while, we drop an episode that's just a conversation between the two of us without a guest, and that's what you're getting this week. So tune in. It is a whole new year.
It's a whole new year. I like poetry and I've been saying open the door to 2024. So
Oh, okay.
it's 2024, man.
I was wondering what you were going to come up with because, last year you're like, hello, me, 2023. So I was curious. I knew you were going to come up with something.
Open the door to 2024. That's been my jam. I've been talking about it and I've been aware of the opening the doors. And yeah, so it's here. It's on. It's now. It's hello 2024. Yeah. How are you with the new year? How are you?
I feel like I'm like walking on air, not on ground,
Yeah.
a little bit. And so, what is 2024 going to
I
bring?
love endings and beginnings. Like I've been tapped into 2024 for a while, and I've been doing lots of journaling and reflecting, and I have this honoring of where I've been and where I am and who I am and what I desire to create more. Like I have this fun flow that I do, and I do it. It's special for me when it's the end of a year. And I do these things also throughout the year, but it doesn't feel the same for me. There's something really nice of me going, hi, that's done. 2023, it's over. Like I don't have to carry any of it anymore. I don't have to carry it anymore. It's not like it's a tax year and it's done. Like it's like whatever that is, it's finished. So I really appreciate the space clearing of this whole new year. I don't do resolutions because I don't need to be resolved to do anything. It doesn't have to be that heavy. And I really like this energy of opening the door. And side note, so in Canada, we had this show on CBC for a while. This was many years ago. It was called Being Erica. And Erica had this therapist that she would go and see. And she also had this capacity to open doors. Like in the show, there'd be this, she'd have her life and she'd open up a door and it would time warp her to another time dimension reality. And then at some point she would open up the door and it would be not necessarily back where she was, but the time that she knew when she started the show. And I like that energy of opening that kind of door. Like, what if we could really open up the cosmic door to our creative capacities? And my dog agrees. And that's the energy for me when I think about opening the door. I want a door that is like unlike any other. And I'm willing to be, it's not even a willingness. I desire to cross a whole new threshold. And like, I don't have, you know, I have no expectations of what I want it to look like, but I just like, no, show me the door. I want whatever that door is that's going to take me to that uncharted territory. That's where I'm looking. And so really asking for it to be planetary, like ask like a big, like open the door, take a step and poof, a whole new world. Like whatever that opening the door to, that energy I really like. I wonder, and maybe I have to open up 10 doors to get to the door, to that door. I don't know, but this energy of I'm just gonna do it. Open, 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 open. Yeah.
I read or I heard or I saw something recently that said we're moving into like out of the earth things like it used to be like real estate and construction. I don't remember all the details, but we're moving more into like AI and all of that. But secondary to that, we're moving into mental health and awareness and spiritual gifts and development. And so I'm kind of excited to see what happens with like the planet kind of having the momentum behind all of that. So it's not as much grounded into the earth as it is like moving through space and time and energy and frequency. Some interesting things on the horizon that are going to be showing up. And my question, like you, like open the door, like I'm willing to walk through that door. Let's open the door. And like what possibilities with what I already know about myself or what I already know about the world can be highlighted and expanded upon, and how can my vibration and frequency get greater and more in the foundation of love and kindness and space and gratitude and compassion.
My ask, I guess, for me is the willingness to be present to my energetic frequency of my future, and asking my future energetic frequency for the truest, greatest expansion of my life, asking that energetic future frequency to be loud enough so I can hear it, feel it, sense it, know it, be it, and lean into it and choose it, so that I do open up that door. And there's playfulness in there. There's curiosity, there's kindness, there's like I trust myself enough to trust that I'll hear the frequency that matches the future I'm asking for. And to say it out loud. And it's really a soul space, like a heart. I'm giving my soul the space to amplify the frequency of that which it knows, so the rest of who I am can catch up to that energetic resonance of the truth of me. And that's fun. Like that's energy, that's frequency, that's resonance, that's molecular, energetic, tonal realities that speak in a very different way than what I want to be when I grow up. You talk about AI and coding and technology, but from a frequency of truth and honesty and a resonance of the loving kindness that I am and asking for. But yeah, I think for me, it's asking for that energetic frequency of that future kindness, caring, attentive, expansive, love light being that I am, to be loud enough for me to pull myself in a whole new world and open up that door. And I wonder who I'll be this time next year. I wonder.
Yeah. I also notice I'm in this like calm space, this like from the time that I got on my trip in July to now, it's been this like uncovering and maybe like a recovering of my true self and exploration and adventure. And it's kind of in this calm way, like not like I would always do things like head on, like jump all in, 2 feet, let's go. And now it's more like it's still the same, yes. It's just in a like calmer, more deliberate, conscious way, and recognizing everything around me at all times and being super hyper aware and being okay with that. So, when I think you talked about this in a different conversation that we had, and it might have been offline conversation that we didn't publish, but you had talked about how, one time you were on a walk with someone and you were just too much, but you chose in that moment to continue to be you. And I think so many people, myself included, have spent a lifetime apologizing for being too much and toning themselves down because other people had a response to that. And I'm coming to realize for myself personally, and maybe this speaks to you and the world listening, that it's not my fault. It's not my response. Your reaction is not my responsibility unless I'm definitely being unconscious and unkind. Like, I think 2024 for me is like, I'm done apologizing. I've done all my work to make amends with the people that I'm responsible for their triggers. If one of my children has a trigger, there's a good chance that I'm at minimum 50% responsible for creating that trigger, being the mom. But everybody else's triggers belong to someone else, not me, even if I am the conduit of the trigger in the moment. Walking into 2024, like you were walking on that day with that person and just choosing to be all of me, whether that's uncomfortable for someone else or not, because toning me down doesn't make your life easier if you're triggered by that. It just might settle the moment or make you feel happy that you somehow won the moment. I don't know what that means, but for lack of better words, like in your scenario, your person would have won the moment if you had toned down, and then they were upset that they didn't win that moment because you got to be you.
The piece that's standing out for me in that, Michelle, is in terms of like, there's room enough for all. There's room enough for all and for everyone. If we think about this in terms of business, right? Like two yoga studios end up showing up in the same town. Some people will go, oh my God, they're going to compete with me. Like right next door to my counseling office and energy healing space, there's another counselor that showed up. And my first reaction was like, what the fuck? There's another counselor in this building? Like there's a lot of counselors in this building. And then I let that go and I relaxed and I was like, there's enough for all. There's enough for all with businesses. There's enough for all with yoga centers and studios. There's enough for all with counselors. Like there are so many people in the world that it's a disservice to myself to not play all of my cards than to chest my cards and only play one because they're not going to get it, or there's not enough room for both of us in this place and space. There's actually a whole entire universe and galaxy bigger than the earth, of which we're all on. There's room enough for all to be all of ourselves. And so that's the piece for me in the opening of the door, is like wide open, wide open. There is room enough for all. And there's room enough for me to find even more of me. Like, how much more space can I invite myself to experience and express and to expand so that I have more cards to play? Like I have a depth and a beauty to me that I don't even know yet. And I know a lot of the beauty of me. So we don't have to chest our cards. We don't have to play small. We don't have to, be responsible for what other people think. That there's room enough for me to skip down the street, as there is room enough for the man or the woman or the person to walk down the street. And all of that is okay. There is room for all of it. And those are the doors to open, is the doors of honoring myself, honoring yourself, honoring the other, being the kindness that we know to ourselves, allowing that to water seeds it for others. And there's room enough for all of us. Like, come on. In this season of like, how many wars we have to have in the world, how much trauma do we have to see going on in the world to know that there's room for all of us. There is actually room for all of us. And we will find those rooms when we take down our walls and barriers, when we remove the fences, when we stop dividing lines of what's right and wrong between people, what's good or bad or ugly in this relationship, and just allowing people to be themselves. And that's a beautiful world. Like I want to be part of creating that.
Yeah, same. I absolutely. And I think about we spend a lot of time, I think, as a society looking at how things are a negative impact, regardless of the scenario. And I wonder what it would be like to walk through life feeling like an addition to life. Like, what if every person in your life is an addition and you look at how they're adding to your life instead of taking away from your life or competing with you or being a problem? What if you look at how they're adding to your life, how they're being a contribution, if they're bringing you kindness or not? The truth is that they're just unkind people. The truth is that they're just wounded people who don't want to heal, and they function from an ugly place within themselves. That's just how reality is. And you do have to pick and choose who you spend your time around and know what's like true for you. At the same time, we can all look at any scenario, any person, any situation, and find the addition to our life. We're choosing it for a reason. Maybe that reason is that it's helping you heal something. Maybe that reason is for you to recognize what doesn't work for you. And maybe that reason is because they just really add something delicious that you wouldn't have without them in it.
There are things that I need to learn to get me there. And I mean, we could go into Darwin's natural selection. Like, if I'm not evolving and growing, then I'm a dying energy. I'm a dying breed. We're species on a planet, and the planet is asking us to evolve and to create and to be a greater energetic resonance. And so there's things that I'm going to have to learn that I don't know yet, but I am willing to start the expansion of my life in ways I don't yet know that match the energetic truth of me in ways that's yet to be discovered, but that I know. And so there's lots in there of like trusting myself to choose that, committing to those things that I value. And side note, kind of related, as you were talking, I remember in high school, there was still apartheid in South Africa. There was still the Berlin Wall. And I remember being so impassioned about things in the world. And I never doubted that I couldn't change it. It's really interesting. So I sensed division. I sensed something wrong. I remember crying watching soldiers with the Berlin Wall. I remember watching the movie Biko, and reading and learning about Stephen Biko and what happened to him, and knowing from the soul of me that there's another way. And I never once doubted that I couldn't create a better world. Like, so it's really, I mean, I'm sharing that in like, because we're talking about lines and divisions, and when people don't get us, or I'm not responsible for other people's feelings. And I'm also responsible for creating my world. I'm responsible for creating my world. And I desire to create a world that includes everyone, that listens, that's willing to change points of views and see perspectives. And I might not agree with this other being or other government or other policy, but I'm willing to come to a table for something greater than what I know, but I know. And so that's my invitation, is like, as people are listening to this, like, what do you really know? And what type of world do you want to create? Because you can. Like, I do not doubt this. I know this is cosmic truth. And people can be naysayers and complainers, and then find other people that match that. And if that's the world you desire to create, that is the world you will create, and it will come to you ad nauseum. And I desire to inspire you guys to, like, what is lighting you up. And sometimes what lights you up is the disconcerting things that are going on. And if there's something concerning you, if there's something that is pulling at your essence and your molecules, like my dog right now, then rather than dividing a line and making density of this experience, what door am I being invited to open? And what capacities do I have within me that I have not yet raised voice to, that if I raised voice to, would change my life and the life of my neighbor? And I desire to be that bold. And sometimes, when I see, like when I was in high school and saw the story of Stephen Biko, I started the Amnesty International Club in our town, and I was 13. The only people who stop us from creating the world we want is ourselves. And you might have all kinds of reasons why you can't create the 2024 that you want. And that's true for you, and you won't do it. And then you'll be right. And I'm desiring more faster. Like, I'm opening up that door. I'm opening up the planetary plasma door that changes my life in ways that I might go crazy. Like, am I willing to go insane to choose the freedom and the juicy transformational soul moments of my life? And invite others to play with me while we do it. Like that's fun and crazy, and I kind of like it.
And I'm thinking about like people that are listening to this going, oh, sure, Christine, just jump through that door, get it really fast. And I don't know, that sounds scary. And, I just, as a reminder that I have to myself, and I want to remind everybody listening, and this is something I'm doing for 2024, is you got to remember in everyday life, just like on a plane, put your oxygen mask on first. So if you haven't already figured out that you're going to leap through the door of 2024, like Christine, and you're kind of, tiptoeing around, maybe a little nervous or, not sure, take an hour, fill your cup full, whatever that means to you, fill you all the way up, and then put on your shoes and take a step towards the door and crack it open and take a peek and see how that's resonating for you. You don't necessarily have to jump off the cliff, but you have to take care of you first. If your cup is not full, you cannot do anything for others without completely draining yourself. I've always been a leaper, just like you, Christine. I'm always like, yes, and let's go for it. And then I jump without even knowing where I'm landing. And I forget to recognize that everybody doesn't function that way. And there's a gift sometimes in looking where you're going to land before you jump.
Yeah, all of the ingredients are tasty, and just enjoy tasting.
Absolutely. Well, however you decide to bring in 2024, let us know. Let us know if you open the door. Put it in the comments.
Open the door.
Tell us what you're doing.
Well,
and how you bring it in. Like, I'm interested to hear how.
And also to know, like, wherever you are in the new year, you can create a new year anytime you want in the whole entire year. you get to play with time in any way you like. So if you missed out on doing it the way you wanted to, and now you want to do it in a whole new way, okay, go for it. Start now. Make it right now. Instead of you didn't miss out on anything. You just have a whole new way of being with this new space of you.
Yeah. And share in the comments and let us know what it is you're doing and how you're bringing in the new year. And maybe you're celebrating the new year in April instead of today. You know, everybody does things different. But for Bulan's sake, we're going to say goodbye so that he can get what he needs.
He definitely needs to do something not in the house right now, not in my office space. Yes, he's peeking his head through the door. Just like a little. He went back out.
Okay, Bulan, we hear you. We hear you, buddy.
And blessings to you and to everyone. And definitely, like you say, let us know how you're celebrating. And we can't wait to create more with you. Open the door. 2024.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you. Have a beautiful day, Michelle.
Bye.
Bye.